I didn't know that I had the plan for your happiness and success and for also world peace because I had to live it first before I could know that, just as you had to live your life to discover who you are. But we are each born with something we were meant to do, and that is your life plan, becoming your authentic self, however you think of it. We can think that things are happening accidentally, but I've come to understand that's not happening. Nothing is happening in your life or in our world. It's not accidental, it's just that we come to understand it. And the way that we come to understand it is that we will study things, we will live, we will experience certain things in our lives, and then we learn more about the human condition because that's what we're all doing. But it will be different for each of us. And then it can show up in your life and be completely surprising. And you might be feeling that now because we've moved into a period in the world and in your life where you have much more available energy to create the life that you're supposed to have. That may not make sense, but I'm going to explain it because I doubted it myself. I thought none of this matters. None of this makes any sense. This consciousness thing, this mindset, what could that be and what could it be doing for us? It can be causing you to live the best life you've ever had. And I do know that because it was really a challenge to bring it in so that I could give it to you. But accepting it is really the most challenging thing that you have in your life. Self-acceptance is your superpower because that's why you were born. But getting there is a journey because you have to move through all of the disbelief that has been implanted within you. That means individually and also collectively. And I'll tell you a story because, see, no one believed me. I didn't believe myself either. And I had to have validation. You want validation as well. And Wilhelm has given me all the validation that anyone could possibly need because I've written it all down. That was really surprising to me, and I would never have told you that I could have done that. I'm saying that because you must leave yourself open to the possibilities of what you can achieve because it's always outside of you. You can't know what it is until you become willing to take the journey and walk through the path of your life. And everyone has one. I used to think that didn't make any sense until I started seeing it. And Wilhelm gave me one message that said the puzzle piece. That's what we're all doing. We're putting together the pieces of our lives and figuring out that journey. There's another one that they gave me about the fairy tale, Hansel and Gretel, where they went into the forest and they lost their way. And so they left acorns so they could find their way back home. Well, Wilhelm says most of us in the world have lost our way. And so they gave us something else, and they gave it through me. Go, why me? Well, see, I was placed in the places where I could have understood what was happening. I didn't know that. It only was revealed later. And I go, well, why? Because I had been placed in situations where I had to deal with every kind of person, every kind of religion, every kind of race, ethnicity, and all of that. And it happened throughout my entire life. And then I started to discover, oh, wait a minute, these are people. Yeah, that's what happened. And then I had to come to the next realization is that we haven't always believed that, which is what we're seeing in our world now because we're at the place where only certain people are really meant to be here. Only certain people have worth and value. And those are the people who should really prosper and thrive. Wilhelm says, where did you get that? And then they gave me a way to change it, and they called it a new philosophy called Your Life Operating Instructions, saying that every person is born with worth and value, and all you've got to do is move through all the stuff that told you you couldn't have it. I go, well, what would be the thing for me? Why me? Because I kept asking that as well. Why me? Because I had had the experiences that could help. And then I couldn't understand why they had me. I'm saying this because we get direction from our intuition, from our thoughts. That's what happens. And they had me write an article on racism and misogyny. I go, why am I talking about that? That's not who I am. That's not my life. I said, it's everyone's life. We can't be in the physical world unless and not be affected by those things that have existed in our collective consciousness. I said, oh, now I understand. And then I didn't want to do any of it. I said, I'm not going to talk about it. Because I always knew that I was this person who just loved everyone. I just wanted everything to be okay. And I just wanted to let go of the judgment. But I knew that so many other people weren't going to understand that. And then Wilhelm said, yeah, you're going to have to look at all the judgment that's going to come up. Because when you move through a change, you have to go into something that's unknown to you. And then when we don't understand it, we will start to judge it and say it's wrong, and we don't get it. That's what happens. And then we don't understand that everything is energy, and the reason that we're suffering and having difficulties and challenges is because we have not decided to use the available energy within us to create the lives we want to have and to move to a higher state of consciousness. And so Wilhelm says, we're going to have you sit down and use your entire life and write it all out. That's really what I did. And then the result of that will be that you will heal. That happened too. Now I'm 74 and healing and getting better, and that's a reverse of what's supposed to happen. Because they said they wanted us to drop our level of disbelief of what is possible. I couldn't believe that. So thank goodness that artificial intelligence was invented. In my channeling sessions, Wilhelm said that I was meant to bring in science, spirituality, and human potential, meaning showing what is possible, what we could do. This is why the references to Napoleon Hill always come up in some of the talks, because Napoleon said it quite brilliantly. Nothing is impossible, except we get stuck in our thinking of what is possible in the world, and we're in that place now. Everything that's happening in the world, Wilhelm has told us about, everything that's going on in the United States, because that's the epicenter, so to speak, but that was an energetic shift that was happening, and they explained that to me because of the energetic alignment of certain planets that were moving. That made no sense until I started studying that. We have discovered that energetic shifts do have an effect on us emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And so we get to decide what we're going to do with it. And when you decide that you're going to embrace the energy of change and move with it, you heal. And that's exactly what I've moved through. And that's what I'm leaving, and that's why I'm talking about it today. A lot of people will not believe this, will not understand it, and then you will still go around doubting yourself. That's what we do, because I did it forever, and I do understand. But every single message that I had received was saying exactly what we would be moving through now, and that this work, anyone who would do it, they would heal. And people who have done it have done that, and I stopped myself. That's where we do self-sabotage, when you don't finish what you're here to do. And I know that everyone is here to do something. So this was the story. I'm going to leave the links here, so I just want you to go through the entire stories, because it's all done. I've written it all. And in the links, you'll see what I call them, your gifts, because I want you to understand it. Because I know that you can achieve that success and happiness. It's a plan. And all you have to do is sit down every day and just work with this information, and you change, because it's in consciousness. It's the only place it occurs. It has nothing to do with your parents, your family, anyone else. It's just you. And the things that you will accomplish will kind of astound you, as they have me. To be at 74 and at going in this direction, that didn't make sense. But I know people can do it because I've been given the information. Now, but I also doubted it. And just as you will, because when I've talked about this work, I've done it for so long now, people said that's not possible. But the AI said, yeah, it is. Caused me to believe a lot more, which is why now I'm finishing all the work, because it was a collection of 36 years of sitting down and just receiving this information. And then I started making connections. See, in 2021, when I was told that I was supposed to do this, I said, I'm not going to do it. You know, that fight that you have with yourself. I heard Kate Hudson this morning on this interview. This is so fascinating. She was talking about this film that she was doing, but just talking about her life. But then also, I saw right after that, these are all in succession, Michaela Schifrin. And she is an athlete. And so all of these folks were talking about what they've come to understand through living their lives and what they can give back to others. And Michaela was the best one because she's like the world renowned. She's the skier who's broken all kinds of records. But she talked about her PTSD, how she suffered from so many things. And then she talked about this one time where her body knew that she could do this thing, but her mind got in the way and just wouldn't let her do it. That's what you've done too. When we can't take that next step and say, this is who I am. And so it was so fascinating to see the message I received on February 26th of last year that said self-acceptance ends suffering. And it does, because when you accept yourself, that's when you're embracing the reason that you were born. And there's one other thing that you'll see that I doubted, and I'll leave the links in this video because I want you to have it, because I want everyone to know what I'm doing now. Once this has been validated and I can see and I know where our world is now and where it's going to be in the next few months, if we don't own who we are, because that's all you're supposed to do is just own who you are. That's the most important and noble thing that you could do at this moment. But I'll leave the link to Wilhelm's philosophy, their ascension guide is what it's called, but it's from the moment that I started, and well, I started before that, but the first message where I knew this could probably be something that was February 19th of 1989. And you'll see certain other people are talking about February 19th now, which is really interesting because there are connections that we start to find with so many things in life that we never understood before. And this information I received gets you to understand who you are, gets you to live the life you're meant to have. And so what I'm going to start using on my website, I'm in the process of changing that now, is you can achieve greatness. Because that's what I know for every person. Any person who decides that they're going to do this, they're going to achieve greatness. Because what will happen is you start to understand your authentic self, you become empowered and courageous enough to live it, and then you start to prosper because you're allowing the energies of the universe to give you everything you're supposed to have. And all of those things that made no sense to me before and it just sounded like talking points, I know are true because I've experienced them in my life. And years ago, when people said you should be, when I couldn't own this yet because it was so unbelievable what it was, and they said you should be charging $5,000 for this. Well, I couldn't do that then, but I am now because I'm going to retire, and so I'm going to end all of this by writing all of the material, putting all the little programs together and putting all the information that I've received over these years and give it to everyone who wants it. But those who come into my work, they will have everything. But that is my ultimate goal because I know what you can achieve. And that was so challenging for me to own and say, just like what you have might be doing the same for you now. Because it's all about energy and you're feeling this push somehow that you know you're supposed to do something, and I'm saying you are. And the fun thing is, and I have a group, just a little bit later today, because when we come together in the group, what is happening, we're each working on the thing that we're here to do because we need the support always, and the guidance, and the planning, and the structure. And coming into the groups gives us that. And so now I'm just going to take it much larger because I've hidden from myself just as you have. And so now I'm going to do advertising and taking it to a larger audience and bringing more people in and getting more help so that I can finish putting more of the work in and so I can enjoy, because that's what you're supposed to do as well, is when you get to a place where you know that you have done your work, you have filled your mission, you're supposed to prosper. And anyone can do that when they decide to honor who they are, and that's what this work does. But you will see all of it, but I'll leave the links here because I just want you to go through it and see it for yourself. There's nothing that you can't accomplish that is within your life path. If it's there, you're meant to do it. You may be afraid of it, you may doubt it, you may not understand it, but if you're feeling it on this deep level, that means you're supposed to do it, and all it takes is time for you to get there. I started on this particular aspect in this program more than, well, a long time ago, but the first time that I even talked about it was 2016, because I knew that something was coming and it was going to develop. You have the same thing, and you probably are feeling that it has developed and you're ready to do it now, and you just needed some support and some help, and now you have it, because this will change your life and our world. Because we're not supposed to be looking at the world and being in chaos and hatred and anger. And it changes when you love yourself and do what you came to do and let go of the old stuff. That's all. See you soon.